They're two of my trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on Thelxie.
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destray. Are you Fremine's employer? Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Oh, do you really think so?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I wouldn't have had to trouble Fremine here with this commission.
Obsessed with the tales of water imps?
Ah, so you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Fremine had explained it to you already.
Well, Fremine told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Fremine is even more discreet than I had thought. As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about its vision and history. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission.
Sure, you can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll try our best to help you get through your troubles.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words. I'm sure you're already familiar with the tale of the water imps, right? Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie, he's infatuated with him.
Infatuated? Brave soul.
Yes. He told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, he often goes near the water in secret.
Huh. So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome when he was only 8 years old. It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the Traveler now.
No! Paimon won't accept that! We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the Traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less!
The family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Huh?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality, and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Amazing! Your son came up with all of this? He really crafted a lovely fairy tale world for Thelxie. It's like a beautiful dream.
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
doctor's son to develop his loneliness syndrome?
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as Thelxie.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a prince who lost everything he ever loved or stood for.
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to help him snap.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy. He once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world, but since the disorder progressed too quickly, he never quite got past the first page of the book. If we could use this book as a breakthrough for his condition. Here, you can take a look.
Ah, so Zuria's son also saw Thelxie as a penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll lead the story to a different ending. One where the Water Imp Prince is eventually able to restore his kingdom with the help of his friends. We'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow, and let him perceive a world full of hope again. That's what I mean by guiding his fantasy.
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does Fremine need to make a Thelxie as well?
Because we need to treat the book's story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened. We'll need to go on a journey like Thelxie, and help him regain his crown and country. But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Fremine here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this Thelxie into the picture book.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son! Paimon's starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria. Paimon still has one question, though. Where will we be able to find a Water Imp King?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Fremine to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the kingdom.
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of, a brave journey through the Kingdom of Water Imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the water.
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously. And the only way we can take this seriously is if we choose to believe everything that's happening is real.
So we'll be playing it straight? Or, making it a fully immersive experience? Oh, neither of those really sound right. Well, either way, we'll still be able to help, right?
It's all right. There's no need to get that serious. It's not a big deal. I believe in my son. We can just see this as him wanting to stay asleep for a bit longer, because he's so enamored with his dream.
Zuria.
Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, we temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also...
Understood. There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on
That's great news. I must thank you all. With that in mind, all right, everyone. Let's meet again.
Zuria sure is a brave and optimistic lady. Fremine, do you think her plan...
Let's discuss that over by the